Well, hello. We're starting another week. It's Monday, and I hope everybody had a great weekend. I know I did. We are about to do our 66th show, and it's been 88 days since we started doing this whatever it is.
Wow, we're
And
slowing down.
we're slowing down. I remember we did 50 shows. It was our 50th day, but we decided to stop doing those 10 shows a week thing. Was ambitious, but hey, we're supposed to be relaxing, taking it easy. It's not
Exactly.
like we're getting paid to do this.
It was soul killing.
Exactly. Anyway, I had heard of I Need Space from my cousin's daughter, Willa, a long time ago, and it was such a genius way to spend the COVID-19 life. What it is they get together with musicians and do a whole day of musicians playing every hour, one musician every hour, all during the day from their homes, and make it a party. And one of the things they're going to tell us is how they do that. So uh, Briget, Boyle, and Genesis Fermin are two of the four people involved in it, and they'll tell you about the rest of them. But let me just switch over the sharing screen to you, Briget.
Great.
And here it comes. Jerry got it.
Got it.
And you got it. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having us, Pete and Mac,
Sure.
and the whole team. I love what you all are doing. So my name's Briget Boyle, and I'm the creative director at Waximile Productions, which is a record label and production company based in Oakland, California. And Genesis Fermin is here, who's one of the co-mothers of I Need Space. And we're just gonna.
One little detail.
Sure, go ahead.
Little tiny detail. I looked up, I saw Mac, and I realized usually we have Mac explain to people how to ask questions. So why don't you do that, Mac, first?
Perfect.
Well, I will, although at this point, I don't think there's anyone who doesn't know what to do for questions. But in your GoToWebinar control panel, there is a little pull-down menu that says questions. Pull it down, ask questions, make comments, whatever. Be sure to be specific about what you're asking about, because as I've explained 1,000 times, well, at least 60 times, they may not get answered at that exact moment, and 5 or 10 minutes later, it may be obtuse what you were actually referring to. So please be clear, but please ask questions, because that's really what it's all about, is exchanging information. That's why we're all here.
Cool.
So with that, I'm going to turn off my camera and let Briget take over.
There we go. Go for it, Briget.
Thanks, y'all. Okay, just me and Genesis here. Yes, so, okay, again, my name is Briget Boyle. I'm the creative director at Waximile Productions. Genesis Fermin is here, who is one of the co-founders of I Need Space, and we're so excited to share with you what we've been up to. So I Need Space is a live stream queer music festival. And so when the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. And we definitely took this to heart. We are all a bunch of weirdos and a bunch of queerdos who wanted to make some music. And so we came up with this, well, Genesis and Willa came up with this great idea to do a monthly live stream concert of queer musicians. We originally started with the Bay Area as our focus, but we've expanded to a national roster of artists. And our goal is to uplift queer music and also make it accessible by incorporating ASL and live captioning to the concerts. So Genesis here is going to talk a little bit about the idea of I Need Space and how it started.
So basically, before I talk about the birth of I Need Space, let me give you a background on the people who are the founding mothers of I Need Space, and that is me and Willa Mamet. She and I are music partners, and we had just started a band called Power Snatch. And the plan was to be playing shows all throughout 2020. And our friend Mia Byrne had invited us to play at her residency at the Lost Church in San Francisco at the end of March. I believe it was March 28th or 29th, so last Sunday. And leading up to that show, there have been murmurs about, COVID-19 spreading at a rapid pace. And so we were starting to implement clean solutions and social distancing. And there's already talks about sheltering in place, but things were still kind of a blur at that time. And it was at March 15th, I had my first cancellation of a show because of social distancing, because of the virus. And Willa and I had planned on rehearsing on the 16th for this show with Mia Byrne at the Lost Church. When I got to her place, I told her I've been monitoring the news and it's not looking good. I already have one cancellation. So what the heck? And as we were hanging out at her home in Oakland, I got a notification saying that the governor has put shelter in place into motion. Everyone gather your things, do your panic buying, prepare to hunker down because no one's going to leave the house if you want to survive the pandemic, basically. And so I looked at her and I said, oh my God, there goes part of our livelihood. That show that we're going to play is likely going to be canceled. Am I crazy for thinking that maybe we should perhaps start a music festival online? Just take everything that we were going to play at a brick and mortar show or a venue, take it all, put it in our living rooms, invite all our friends and see what happens. So we made a plan of inviting 10 of our friends who are queer musicians here in the Bay Area. And since it expanded into a roster of 12 artists, and so we had our artists lined up. We were thinking, okay, where are we going to be beaming our music from? Facebook. Everyone's on Facebook. Okay, let's do a Facebook Live event. We need a page. So we built a page, and within, I don't know, like within the first couple of hours, we had about 500 likes already, and a buzz is already starting to grow. And but before that, we had to figure out a name. And this is kind of an interesting story because it's a very personal thing. We were brainstorming like different names, like 6 feet apart. Doesn't really catch. What about socially distant show? No. And then I got another text message from a person that I was dating at the time, and they told me, I think I need some space. And when I blurted those words out in Willa's living room, it was Willa, me, and her girlfriend, and we all looked at each other and go, there goes, that's our name. Yeah, we're gonna name this whole series I Need Space, a live stream queer music festival. And we're gonna figure this out. We have no idea what's going on, but let's make a music festival out of it and just have fun. And I told her, okay, maybe at the end of the day, we'll just make, I don't know, $50 each. And that's good enough. And the event was a pretty huge success for something that was panically done in 5 days, or I think it was 5 days or less, from the concept to the actual show. So here we are. Oh, Briget, your mic's off.
Thank you very much. Excuse me, I'm making a mess over here. Yeah, so that chapter 1 was just such an incredible, just resilient experience, like all these amazing musicians, 12 musicians, 12 hours of music, live captioners. It was just so great. And what happened during chapter 1 made it very clear what our direction was to be after. It was such a success. There was so much great feedback. And one of the features of I Need Space that we feel very passionate about and are working very hard to incorporate into every festival is our accessibility piece. So the first chapter, we started with just live captioners. They were all volunteers. We had 1 week to put the festival together, as Genesis just talked about. And so there would be human beings watching the show from their own living rooms and sort of live captioning in the Facebook comments. And it was really cool. And I got a lot of feedback from my friends who watched my set, saying like, it was just so great to be able to read your lyrics and hear what you were saying and, you know, really kind of engage in that way. And then after that, during chapter 1, we had Katie Cash and her wife Jenny were together in the same place, and Jenny's an ASL interpreter, and so they were able to actually perform using ASL live, and it was amazing. And so we thought, is it possible for us to be able to pull this together for chapter 2 and have every artist with ASL interpretation? And we pulled it off. We did it, and it was a really incredible experience. And it was just it really deepened the impact of the festival and really made it special and stand out. And then chapter 3, we were able to pull in, I think, 3 or 4 captioners, and then we had, or 4 ASL interpreters, and then we had a couple of captioners for the artists that we weren't able to have ASL interpreters for. So moving forward, we're really hoping to be able to have ASL interpretation for every act. It does cost money, so we have to, you know, that's a big part of what our infrastructure building has been based, you know, that's where we're kind of looking for fundraising and those kinds of things. So I wanted to go ahead.
About the ASL, because musicians, I feel like this whole pandemic situation has impeded with our income stream. ASL interpreters have also had have this thing happen to them, and we made I Need Space so that not only are we uplifting specifically the queer musicians and artists, but also the ASL interpreters, who basically are the ones who interpret live shows. So it's a platform for both musicians and interpreters.
Yeah. So the thing that's been really exciting as a production company is sort of how the technology has every month has gotten a little more exciting and a little better. So the first month, chapter 1, the artists went live directly to the Facebook page from their living rooms, and for the most part, we had a couple artists who did have audio interfaces and they were hooked in that way, but for the most part, it was just people with their iPad or their phone or their computer right next to them singing or playing into the screen. We made them hosts or admins on the Facebook page, and then they were able to go live as I Need Space. So that's how we did chapter 1. For chapter 2, we moved to a platform called BeLive.tv, partially because we really wanted to incorporate ASL into all the sets. And so we needed to figure out a way to have a multi-screen situation going on where you know, we have 2 people in 2 different places on one screen and live streaming at the same time. And because of sort of the Zoom audio issues and whatever, I was looking at some other platforms. So I found BeLive.tv, and I actually found it was this woman who does a lot of webinars was posting about it, and it sounded really interesting. So we tried it out, and it was actually really successful for us that month. It worked really well for chapter 2. However, one of the things that came up while we were doing the show was the bandwidth of the different artists. And in a second, I'm going to show some examples of how we progressed through the technology, and I'll show some examples of where the bandwidth was limited because BeLive is great. They really facilitate awesome live streams, but if you have a lot of input onto your internet, it can be problematic. So that led us to the 2 issues that came up in chapter 2 was like, 1, we want a multi-stream. We want to be in different platforms to be able to build audiences in different places. And 2, we wanted to find something that had strong bandwidth. So we went to a platform called StreamYard, and StreamYard has been really awesome for us so far. and there's a lot of like branding capability, and you can stream to multiple platforms at once. We were able to stream to YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, which was a little problematic because when people started commenting or and it would kind of mark it as spam, so we ended up losing the broadcast about halfway through. But it was really interesting how that progression happened. Did you have something to add there, Genesis? No. Okay.
Dogs are kind of going nuts right now.
Oh yeah, that's part of the fun of doing all these things from home, right? Yeah, so now I'm gonna just show you all a little bit of examples of how we've progressed. So my audio is gonna get muted, I believe, when I start playing this. So it goes chapter, well, let's see what happens. Here we go.
You can turn your.
We'll be together again. Your kiss, your smile, our memories I treasure.
Yeah, so that was Julie Wolfe, who is an Oakland legend. She's an incredible musician and producer and multi-instrumentalist. And she elected to just kind of do the sort of intimate, folksy kind of presentation. Her and I got together the day before the festival and tried to figure out, like, do we use a microphone or do we do this or do we do that? And we realized for her particular setup that the just simple straight to her iPad thing worked really well. Next is Katie Cash and Jenny O. Shaughnessy de Lyonne, who is her wife and ASL interpreter. And so this video is the one that inspired us to work really hard to get ASL interpreters in the next chapters. So here we go with that.
Float along in a daydream. There's a girl in the right scene, and you know I'm not the one. I try to speak my mouth open wide, but these tears roll from deep down inside. In this world, I just can't hide with one broken wing.
Yeah, so that was lovely. And as you can see, the internet connection there was a little funny. And I know that they've worked on that issue at home. I mean, part of the problem with doing these online festivals is you have a real variety of capabilities of the different artists and, you know, in terms of what their technology setup is. So next, I'm going to go to chapter 2 to Deanna Alvarez, who's an incredible artist from the East Coast. And just so this was on BeLive.tv, and we had interpreter and artist playing at the same time in different locations. So the interpreter was in San Diego, and Deanna was, I believe, in Boston. Can't remember. Yeah, Boston. Okay, so here we go.
Thank you to the whole I Need Space team for doing this. I'm going to start with the song in offering to you in honor of your artistry, whatever it is that you would like to create. This is Ser Artista, and it is a song from my opera Quiero Volver a Chica Next ritual opera.
Ser artista es dudar las maquinaciones de este mundo. Ser artista es construir contradicciones para vivir.
To be an artist is to doubt the machinations of this world. To be an artist is to construct contradictions in order to live. To be an artist is to have a nest of iron in your chest when you don't find your people. To be an artist is to make food out of words, movements of the body, temples of the voice. Your voice, tu voz, is the ultimate poem. Poem of being. Poema.
Yeah, so so beautiful, so beautiful. What a powerful set that was.
Bridget, we do have a question
Oh,
from
great.
Peter.
It's
Uh-huh.
actually from me. I can ask it. Is this Stream Deck or StreamYard? This one
This
right
one
here?
is BeLive.tv.
Be live. Yeah, it's nice. You got two pictures in there with a nice blue around it. But did Be Live or StreamYard allow you to adjust the bandwidth for connections to compensate for people having a poor connection?
BeLive didn't, and that's something that I asked them about that, and they weren't able to adjust that. However, StreamYard, part of why we like StreamYard is that they actually host the videos on their own servers, and so you end up having a like it's if you send them a good video, it'll look good, you know. So your internet connection. I mean, they recommend being you know hardwired, of course,
Yeah.
but because they host all the videos on their own servers, it ends up being a lot better.
So were
And
these pre-recorded? Like these right here, was this pre-recorded and then sent to their server and then played, or was it live?
no, it's all live. It's all live. And so the next little bit, part of what I wanted to show was we had an artist in Austin who's done a lot of live streaming, and I haven't really noticed issues with her video before, but when we were on Be Live, when she would play just her guitar and her voice, it worked pretty well. I mean, it was a little catchy, but it wasn't awful. And then when she played using her audio interface and some backing tracks, it got really catchy. So that I just wanted to kind of show the example here. So the first little bit is of her just playing guitar and singing.
It shows me heaven knows I love you. No one else above you. You make my heart beat so fast. Every day I want to shout to everyone that love is love is love is love. I should be too fast. Heaven knows our souls, our story only.
Well, so, you know, that was the example of her playing just guitar and voice, and now here we go with her using tracks.
Ni quieras ver. Me quitaron las ganas de hablar. El silencio tratan de comprar. A la fuerza ellos quieren callar. En contra de esto y más nunca se rindió.
So yeah, that was the moment when I think I was like, okay, this is not going to work, because we need to be able to have a way to have a great show all the way through, regardless of, you know, if people are using backing tracks or not, because the more people are at home, the more they're making backing tracks to play with. And so that's when I started investigating StreamYard. I heard about it from another person who was producing a music festival in California, and checked it out, and I've been really happy with it so far. There's a few little things that are a little funky, but mostly it's really functional. It's really user friendly. You can do great branding in it. You can actually save multiple brands. If you have the pro account, you can save multiple brands. So for instance, I have like 4 or 5 different businesses that I live stream from, you know, and so I'm able to kind of host a number of different things in there. And so this is a sample from chapter 3, the wonderful Melanie D'amour Oh, the artist right before that was Gina Chavez. Again, she's based in Austin, Texas. She's amazing. Check her out.
Can I also point out something about Gina's set there? Because
Yeah, sure.
when she did have the performance get all choppy, I noticed that the viewership did not decline. Like it was still, people were still engaging in the comments, even though the video was super choppy. The audio was still pretty clear, and folks were still able to enjoy it. So I think it was just bottlenecking with the information that's being transferred over to be live. But because of COVID-19, and it was like the early stages of live streaming in this like pandemic situation, although people have been live streaming for, years even prior to COVID, people were not prepared for this kind of volume of live streaming. I feel like after her performance with I Need Space, I've kind of watched her future streams, and it has improved. So whatever she's implemented from learning from performing with I Need Space, it's gotten so much better. And that also goes to across the board with other artists that are live streaming. I feel like we're all learning in this whole situation together.
Yeah, and that's kind of the fun part, it's like we're all like there, it's the Wild West, we're all trying our best to do what we can. Yeah, so Melanie D'amour was just a highlight of chapter 3. She brought such beauty and presence. I thought it was a good one to share. So, because when she started singing, I started crying through her whole set. So, this is a little bit of Melanie D'amour.
I am lifting them to the bright blue sky. I am holding you as their soul flies by. So much love I send to your heart to mend as they fly so high, so free. I am lifting up to the bright blue sky. I am loving you as my soul flies by. In the stars I'll be when you think of me. As I fly so high, so free. We are lifting you to the bright blue sky. We are letting go as your soul flies by. In our hearts you'll stay throughout all our days. May you fly so high, so free.
Yeah, so there we go. That's the I Need Space Festival, more or less, and a really important part of what we've done, and what sets this festival apart, in my opinion, is our branding. So Genesis Fermin here is the brilliant artist who designed the brand and has done all of the graphic design for the festival. She's worked her tail off on it, and she built the website, which actually was another really unfortunate thing that happened a couple weeks ago. Gosh, is that a couple weeks ago at this point? Our entire website was infected with malware and had to be deleted. So we're in the process of rebuilding. Genesis is has been, I mean, just my heart goes out to you, because that was such a lot of work to lose overnight. And but what's great is that the videos are forever, or as long as Facebook and YouTube exist, they are there. And so if you want to go and watch I Need Space and like check out what we've been up to and what the music, all of the incredible musicians, we've had 24 so far, you can do that on our Facebook page. We also have a YouTube channel where we are live streaming too when we do the festival.
We're also on, and we try to broadcast using what's the one for Periscope.
Periscope, yeah.
And the nice thing about StreamYard is that we're able to broadcast within multi-platforms. And that includes, can I go back with the live captioning situation here? Because that's, I
Yeah,
think, very
sure.
important.
Absolutely.
At the beginning of I Need Space's live captioning situation, we had volunteers use their own Facebook accounts in the comment section, and it was easy because it was only on Facebook. But because we were going to multiple platforms, we gave access to our live captioners on StreamYard. So there's a feature on StreamYard where you can actually interact with the people in the comment section from all of the platforms. So, and we would know where that question or where that comment is coming from, because it will say, this is from Twitch, this is from YouTube, this is from Facebook, and from Periscope. And what we found is that Periscope is a little finicky, little picky cat, sensitive with the comment section, because our live captioning is on the comment section. Periscope started flagging it as what is it? Was it flagging it as a spam or something like that, or a
Yeah,
bot?
something.
Because at the rate of the captions, or because it's live caption, so each time there's a new sentence that is said by an artist, or if there's a lyrics, we're constantly copying and pasting lyrics over. We're typing up what they're saying in real time. So Periscope was not really happy about that. So I think that's one thing that we need to figure out, like how to mitigate live captions in this particular platform. But in all other platforms, it was pretty cool. Oh, and we also have a question from Mark Kennedy. Do you supplement hardware to aid your artists in streaming, like microphones, interfaces, etc., or is it a bring your own gear? That's actually a great question, Mark.
That is a great question, and we have not at this point supplemented our artists, mainly because we're a brand new thing that doesn't actually have a large budget yet. But we are very much thinking toward that, and going to be approaching different companies for sponsorship, kind of coming up with like what would the ideal package be, like an interface, a microphone, and like maybe a sort of a jetpack or an adapter to be able to hardwire your computer, something, because that would really, I think that would really elevate the whole experience for the artists and for us as well.
I think your solution that you just first started using today, Briget is using her iPhone as her webcam, and she bought a ring light, and the iPhone's mounted in the center of the ring, and she got an app to put on the iPhone and on the computer, and it does a much nicer webcam than the webcam built into the computer. And that's something you could pass on to your performers without sending them equipment. Here, download this app, put it on your computer, and that all of that remote talking everybody through the computers. Not everybody is as adept with hardware as you are.
Right.
So it can be complicated, unless you come up with a package that plug and go.
Yeah, and what's interesting is like we'd only need to have 6 of these packages, and we could send like when we book an artist, we could, and really it would actually end up only needing to be like 2 or 3, because a lot of people actually have home studio equipment at this point, because it's so accessible and it's so affordable as compared to 10 years ago. So so I really think part of what I've been looking at, because one of the really challenging pieces is actually getting audio that is decent from an interface. You do need to have some sort of software like Jack or Loopback or something to be able to pull audio from a DAW.
Computer, right?
Yeah, because otherwise it sounds really compressed and really kind of strange, and or it just sounds bad,
Yeah, I think the first video, even though it was just an iPad, worked well for her.
Yeah.
It sounded pretty good, piano and a singer. But the last video I think was exceptional, really great sound.
Which
And
is
with that,
also, that was just her phone, her computer.
really,
And I think part of it was that she was just singing. And so when she
that's
was playing guitar, the sound wasn't quite as good because the way guitars like I think the guitar kind of fills in this background noise area that or like that these streaming platforms recognize as background noise. And so they
yeah,
compress them out. And unfortunately in StreamYard right now, you don't really have, like, you can select a microphone that is an audio interface, or like if you have loopback or something, you can select that as the audio input, but you can't actually, like if you don't have an alternate sound situation going on, you can't really adjust the sound settings other than there's like a disable audio processing checkbox that I always uncheck
right,
because, or no, I check it because
right.
we don't want the audio processing happening.
And
Did you
also
say that StreamYard was the one who allowed you to adjust the bandwidth of the incoming signal, or if they had a bad connection?
they have they host it on their own servers, which basically mitigates the issue of bottlenecking with the bandwidth. But we're still at the mercy of the equipment of our featured artist. And here's the
At
thing:
the end,
it's
right?
it's such a, you know, the equipment that's being used by all the artists is so diverse, because some of the artists, like Dana Kurtz, she just used her iPhone. Um,
Right.
Julie Wolf used her iPad. Uh, uh, Gina Chavez had her own interface, and you know, when I played
All
for
different,
myself,
right?
it was straight off my MacBook Pro from 2011. So you just hear, like, you know, the fan going shh in the background. It's a mixed bag of audio situations, and you know, as we progress with the chapters for future chapters, you know, we hope that we're able to kind of like find the science behind, like making sure everything sounds uniformly across all the artists that are performing in each chapter.
Do you have like a rehearsal with the artists like the day before or something like that to make sure their mic works and everything?
Yeah,
Yeah, we do. We call them tech checks.
Right,
And
right,
we usually give them about a half an hour with the ASL interpreter on the Thursday and Friday before the Saturday festival.
right.
And they come on, we test the mic, test the video, make sure everything's working, and then we give them a little time to rehearse together. And usually what we do is we go live in a private Facebook group in order to be able to watch the videos afterwards to make sure that they're looking all right and sounding all right.
You record the rehearsal.
oh
Yeah.
yes.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And the other thing that's really cool about StreamYard is that there's a record only function. So you can actually go in there and do like a practice
Not
broadcast.
stream. Right.
And if you wanted to download it and you know, use it as a video, like you can do that. So
One of the things we found, which is what you were talking about, is people don't always have the same internet connection.
yeah.
And sometimes it's really, really limited. And one or two times we had a presenter in Bangkok who was just breaking up all the time, and we had him turn his camera off, and then his voice was okay. But it's not quite what you want to do. And
Yeah.
we've been trying to figure out how to do it, and we're going to try out another platform called Adobe, made by
Mhm.
Adobe, that has individual settings of bandwidth for each camera coming into the system. So if somebody has a poor
Wow.
connection, you can dumb down their quality of the picture in
Mhm.
pixels and streaming. So that may help.
That's really cool. I'm
Yeah.
curious to hear about that for sure. I wonder, let me know if that's a success because, you
Yeah, I
know,
don't know how it will affect the music. As I told you about this, I had you send me the video you showed so I could upload it to the server, because we
Mhm.
found that playing music from uh, uh, and this probably is I think different with playing live music. It's even worse than playing recorded music. Just sounds like it's flangy
yeah,
and not doesn't work well. It doesn't play very well.
yeah.
You know, by the time we figure out how to do all this stuff, it'll be over.
And, and you all can
Well,
go back
I
to
don't
work, and I
know.
can go on vacation.
I mean, I don't know what a lot of people are saying that COVID's over, and I'm like, I don't think
No,
this thing is over, y'all. Like,
no. In
Yeah,
the entertainment industry, I don't expect to have any work until September. And that
I don't,
is
I
just a
don't,
little
yeah,
part
I don't expect to have any work until well into
until
21.
tomorrow.
that's what I'm thinking.
Well,
2021.
And
Uh,
actually,
I mean,
when we started building
part of
the team at I Need Space, we were thinking about, okay, so let's do a projection of like, do we plan 2 months out? Do we plan 6 months? And then I believe Mackenzie Burt, who is also one of the co-mothers of I Need Space, she said, why not do 18 months? And I go, oh my God, it's a long time. But also that makes a lot of sense because even after COVID is over and shelter in place is done, there's going to be a lot of anxiety for people to actually assimilate back into society
A
and
lot.
imagine the stress of going into a brick and mortar venue to go see your favorite band
right.
where
It's,
you can still go. Why not just
there's
watch it?
still going to be an application for online performing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Live
Well,
streaming
and
has always been there.
absolutely, and a lot of brick and mortars are losing, they can't maintain their spaces anymore, you know.
Right.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of venues that are having to close. And I mean, I feel like the impact on the music industry is probably heavier than most industries, you know, like I'm a choral singer, and you know, I'm not like, singing in a group is one of the least safe things you can
Right.
do, because I mean,
Yeah.
talk about droplets, you know.
Oh yeah.
So
That's the
it's
polite
been
way of saying the most dangerous thing you can do.
Exactly.
right. I'm very polite. I'm from the West Coast.
Well, I think that what you're doing is really terrific, and I'm going to keep an eye on it, and particularly the technology thing. And I'll let you know how Adobe works out in terms of the bandwidth thing. I think it will help presenters at least not look like they're dying, you know, where they're
Yeah.
breaking
Yeah.
up on the screen
And-
all the time.
And I must say, I got to give a plug for this because I've been very happy with it. This is the audio interface that I bought because my much more expensive audio interface either died or just plain won't work with GoToWebinar.
What is that?
This is an Audient Evo 4.
Okay.
It has 2 mic inputs that can supply phantom power,
Nice.
powered
that's
off
great.
the USB bus. There's no external power supply. It's powered off the USB bus, and it can phantom power 2 microphones. And one of the microphone inputs can also be an instrument input. It's got a 1/4 inch for an instrument input.
Ooh,
And
I
you
like.
can play along with
That's
music on the computer because it can mix a playback from the computer with the microphones and give you low latency monitoring of, you know.
And that just
Mhm.
connects to the
So just a
computer with
USB cord going into my, well, it's
Nice.
going into my dock because my
That
computer
sounds
doesn't have
perfect.
enough. Pardon
That
me?
sounds great. Yeah, because one of the things, like, my audio interface is made for recording, right? And so when I go to use it for live streaming, it doesn't work so well, and I
Right.
have to do all these workarounds, and so
And
that's really
this
great.
was $129.
What?
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's great.
Notes.
So phantom power, 2 mics, or a mic and a guitar.
So you say it's EVO 4?
EVO4. It's made by Audient,
Okay.
Great.
who used to make analog recording consoles.
Mm. Yeah, right now I'm just using it. I have an old, like, what is that? An M box from
Uh-huh.
when
Oh
I was
yeah.
It is
and
old.
yeah, and right now I'm just using my Mackie Pro FX8. It again from like high school, and like all the equipment I'm using are things that have fallen off like moving vehicles, and they still, like, it's amazing, they still work.
Well, I will say,
But it is,
I will say, don't drop the Audient Evo 4 off a moving vehicle. The case
Yeah.
is plastic,
well,
but
you're
I
lucky.
think for $129, it's a terrific value.
That sounds like something great for your package, because that people could have a mic, their electric guitar if they want, plus the playback
Yeah.
from the computer. all
Yeah.
in one box. Yeah.
Right. They could, you know, they could add a track to themselves
Yeah, that's great. That's really
all
cool.
in one,
I
one
don't know
device
what was
that costs
causing
about
that.
$1.25.
I don't know what was causing that second video. When the music was playing from the computer, it's like the video couldn't be processed anymore.
I think it's just a bottleneck of the data that's
Yeah.
going to be live at the time. And
Also, if it's done through sharing your screen,
Hmm.
mm,
most
no,
most of these web platforms, when you share your screen, they
mhm.
drop the bit rate on the video.
Right.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it's a lower frame rate if you're sharing your screen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, for us, it was not a screen share. It was direct video and audio feed from the artist into Be Live, right, Bridget?
That was chapter 1, so I think it was direct to Facebook. I think for them it was like an internet. I think it was an internet issue and maybe the age of their computer. It was Katie and Jenny.
And also we had for the first chapter, it was a 12-hour situation where we noticed that as the evening progresses and more people are starting to be at home,
Yeah.
you know, there's now a split between like,
It got
okay,
worse and worse.
there's competition for the internet, and
Yeah.
and so we've actually, if you notice with the graphics that are on the screen, if you look at
Right.
the time, we've actually adjusted the show times. So that way we wanted to see if it's going to affect how
Right.
the presentations are going to be, you know, how is it going to be?
Couldn't we just send out a mass email telling everybody to get off their computers?
Well, what was funny about chapter 2 was that it was the night when like Lady Gaga and Beyonce and like Elton John did this like giant COVID concert. I was like, are you serious, y'all? Like, and so the internet on chapter 2 was a little rough, but
Yeah. Yeah. So
it's
if you
okay.
come back from 12,
Yeah, we cut back from 12. I mean, partially it was because, I mean, 12 hours is a lot. And actually now we're kind of reconsider. So there's been a couple things over the last couple weeks that we've done. And well, first of all, I want to say that we are dedicating this month to Black Lives Matter. And so on Saturday, we'll be sharing on the hour, every hour. We won't be actually having a music festival, but we'll be sharing organizations that people can donate to support the movement. So and so we've actually had we talked with our artists about what we wanted to do, and it became clear that we wanted to push the artists that were on chapter this month back to next month. Even though it is Pride, it is a very important month for queer people. If we're not all free, then nobody's free. So
but you had a big win in the Supreme Court today, so that's nice.
yes, which is so great.
Definitely.
News to wake up to this morning.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'm gonna stop sharing the screen here so we can finish. And so anyways, yeah, well, we decided to cut back on chapter 2 and 3, and we're gonna expand chapter 4 to probably 8 artists.
Right.
And partially it's because on StreamYard we can have more than one person running it, which is great, whereas on BeLive it was all
How does that work?
you can have different people logged in as an admin. So like you just log in as
the performer
with
have
the
to
same
be
email
admin,
address. No, the performers are all guests. Though we did actually, one sort of mistake that we made, or maybe not mistake, but we just weren't really clear on how to do it, was that we had our live captioners also as admins, because that was the only way that they could do the commenting that needed to happen. And twice they hit end broadcast instead of leave studio. And I'm like, no.
I've done that. That's
So
right next. It's in the same thing. Leave webinar and broadcast.
I know, it's so silly. So we had to like go and redo all the links and whatever, but it worked. I mean, it was fine.
It's part of the learning curve, and eventually, like the next chapter, it's going to be it's not going to be like 3 separate. How many times did we have to reboot the live stream?
3 or 4 times.
Well, you're streaming to half a dozen places.
Yeah.
the same time. Why do you feel you need to do that? Why? What's the advantage of that as opposed to telling everybody to go to Facebook? Well, maybe they're not on Facebook, probably. Okay.
Well, part
We
of
have
what
mixed
I'm trying to
Facebook.
do, I don't really want to depend on Facebook as our main platform for much longer. I don't necessarily
Yeah,
support Facebook, and I would love to find an alternate. And so we were talking about how do we build audience in other places, and that is you do it in other places, and then people can find you in other places.
Right.
So our YouTube and Twitch audiences are quite small at this moment, partially because we haven't done a big push of like join us over here. We were just trying it out over there.
Sure.
And so over the next 6 weeks, I think that's going to be one of the things we're going to be really focusing our marketing on, is bringing people over to the other platforms.
And we did have a discussion before going into multiple platforms at the same time was, do we have a mass exodus from Facebook into another platform? And I feel like because it's such a diverse audience, it's good to have it in different baskets, So
Yeah, I know.
if you,
And Facebook, I have a lot of my friends in the industry aren't
Mhm.
part of Facebook, and I like Facebook because in the entertainment industry, I often do a show with a certain set of people and won't see them for a year.
Right.
Mhm.
But Facebook, then I can sort of at least follow along their dog. And
Yeah,
what
it's a good way to just keep in touch with your road friends,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's also a seething pit of anger.
Oh,
It's
the word.
Yeah,
not
I found it really
it's not a healthy
interesting.
place.
When COVID started, like I don't know if it's just because I'm a musician and a lot of the people I'm friends with are musicians, but I'm telling you, Facebook got a lot more interesting when COVID started, because all these musicians were sharing their art and using this platform to not
Yeah.
yell at each other and like be crazy and blah. It was like, why don't I use this to like share what I'm up to with you? And it was really beautiful. I feel like I got pretty tired of it or like it just I was doing a lot of live streams in the first couple weeks of COVID. And as an artist, it was really hard because you don't get anything back, like you get the comments and they're super distracting, but you don't hear applause, you don't hear like people breathing, you don't see their
Take a
bodies.
little cassette deck with applause on it and press play every time you all your songs. It'll be fine.
Exactly.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
That's all you need. Well, it's been really, really terrific, Briget and Genesis. Too bad the other pair of you, Willa and
Mackenzie.
Kenzie,
Yeah.
couldn't have been here also. But it's been really great. I want to let everybody know that we have a great show coming up on Wednesday with the two main stage managers from the London Olympics, going to be literally playing the entire show with their calling channel live and describing what was going on in their head during that whole thing.
That's
And
so cool.
yep. And then
You're
on
welcome.
Friday,
You
who
can
was
log
that?
right in.
What's that?
I was talking to Briget saying she's welcome.
Oh yeah,
she can
definitely.
tune in.
Tune in. And then on Friday, Ike Zimbel's going to explain what you have to do to prep your RF equipment in the shop before you go out to a COVID-19 site. I don't know if that's a subject, that's part of his subject, but I think it's going to be part of everybody's subject coming up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Terrific. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thanks
And
for having us.
and I will let you know about that Adobe thing because it's interesting. I want to find an app platform that allows me to adjust each camera to a different bandwidth, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I'll let you know. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Talk
Thank
to you
you.
later.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.